I need lighting. I need proper lighting. Proper lighting I need. Hello! Good evening. Welcome to part 9 of the... oh, there we go. The Tamiya 112 scale Yamaha YZR-M1 build. In which we shall be looking at the front end of the bike. In particular, the front end suspension. Which, as you can see, looks absolutely stunning. Now this is actually going to be done over 2 parts, so it's going to be part 9 and part 10. So part 9 deals with mostly the preparation and painting of, where part 10 will be dealing with the building of the front end, which is all fantastic. So without further ado, I'm going to tidy up the mess at the side of me before I do anything else. You go watch part 9 and I'll see you at the end of the clip. The show, the film, the thing, go watch it. Okey-doke. Right, front forks and wheel time. Where's the front wheel? There's the front wheel. So just off camera, as you can see, I think I've done this in a separate clip, to be honest. Just put the tyre on the front wheel, which has been painted XF1 black and then gloss varnished with the clear. This stuff. Like I say, don't go buying this stuff. Buy the new version. Photo. There is. Fish little this cardboard box. Stop it. And what we've done is we've just picked out on the headstock itself. As you can see, the top of the suspension arms. Picked that out in the X32 titanium silver. And just at the side of where the handlebars are, the crimp bolt that holds handlebars in, holds the suspension arm in, just pick that out in the same titanium silver too, just to give us a little bit of detail. And then whatever that bolt is there, that's gone in with the X32 too. Makes sense, made that one. What we've got to do now is pick out these little bottles in a white, so we'll go to a mid-grey first. So if we try and paint that straight into white, it'll just turn out wrong anyway. So we'll go with the mid-grey first, but that'll be later. That will be later. The bottom end of the headstock's already done, so I don't need to talk you through that. Suspension arms themselves, because I had to spray the back of the brake disc itself in the XF56, was it? Metallic grey. Wherever that's gone. It's gone. It's hiding. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? It's all in a box up there. I've just had it. Literally had it. Because I'm working on something else at the same time. There we go. XF56. Metallic grey. Focus. There we go. So whilst I had it in the cup for the airbrush, I've gone around and pre-painted the suspension arms themselves, just to get it away from the primer grey that we've got. And then we've gone into the 2 brake disc holders. Now this strut at the side here is going to be painted black, but again I'll get to that when I get there. That didn't make sense either. Base coated the brake disc calipers themselves, again in the metallic grey. Same with the main hub, just to get it away from the primer, and it gives a bit of definition. And the disc holders, hubs, things themselves have gone in with the XF85 rubber black. And then hopefully, once we get that wheel together, come down a little bit. As you can see, there's 2 tones of black there now. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. So we've got a really dark grey, and then we've got an actual black for the wheel itself. So hopefully that'll give a bit of contrast. Where's that tab? There's that tab. There's a little tab that lines up at the back for the hub itself. So that's the idea. Once it's been gloss varnished, it'll be more of that colour. Try and get the lighting right. So there is a difference. Hopefully. That's the theory anyway. So I can go back on the cocking tail stick. So just gotta wait for this paint to dry a little bit more. Especially the metallics. The metallics will take a couple of days to dry properly. So just gotta wait for all that to go off. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting for all that to happen, in the instructions it calls out for the front forks to be painted in a custom colour, which is 1 part of the X32 titanium silver to 3 parts of X26 clear orange. I'm looking forward to this bit. And I've preparated, yes, I've made a word up, preparated an old bottle, use your grammar, an old bottle that I've run out, so I can do the mixing into that bottle. So if you've got people like I have in real life that appear over your shoulder, why are you keeping that? It's empty. This is why you keep them, so you can mix custom paint. So just off camera I'm going to give these a good shake and a good stir, because they'll have separated by now because they've been sat there for a while. Oh, give it some welly. You probably see there the lava lamp effect, as I call it. It's separated, and if you tip away, I don't think I can quite get the camera in there, you can actually see the sediment at the bottom where it's not quite mixed together properly. So just going to get the end of a brush just to give it a quick mix. You can see there's a sediment on the end of the brush. So I'll drop it back into the pot. Wipe the excess away. Oh, and some kitchen towel or something similar. I'll give that another shake. I'll do the same with the clear orange. I'll give that a stir as well, just to wake everything up. There's not usually a great deal of sediment in this because it's a clear colour, so there's not too much pigment. That's a lovely rich colour. Now don't worry, I'm not going to do what I normally do with the airbrushing. I'm just going to tip it in. I'm actually going to be scientific about this. To a point. So, I'll work with the clear orange first, using a squeezy pipette. One suck. And into the bottle. Squirty, squirty. You've got to make the noises too. Two sups. It's like that annoying kid in McDonald's. It's always supping away in the straw. Wow, that's most of that jar gone. That's kind of cool. So there's the 3 subs. So it's 3 parts clear orange. And I can bin that now, because I've got loads and loads and loads. Recycle responsibly. Obviously when I say bin it, I'm actually going to take that outside and do it properly. Into the separate bins that we have. Just move that to one side so I don't knock it over. Give the titanium silver. Got to say it properly as well. Titanium. Say it like a northerner. Titanium. And I'm just going to stick off to the side rather than go all the way down to the bottom of the jar. Let's see if I can get a better angle for that. There we go. Just get the paint off to one side. Just angle away. So we're not getting any of that grudge from the bottom. There we go. And there's the 1 part titanium silver. Just goes into the jar. Ooh, it's like a lava lamp. Look at that. That's cool. I'm just going to give it a quick slurp and then pour it back into the jar straight away, just to give it a little mix. Make some fantastic colours and swirls like that. That's it, I'm just going to spend the next hour doing this now. Bye! Stop messing him out. Get on with it. Again, we'll dispose of that responsibly outside in the recycling bins. Okay. I'll give that a good shake. I've now got a custom colour. Lovely. Wrong brush. Just give that a stir as well, just to make sure. That is gorgeous. And what we have to do as well is on the top of the not on the top, where the suspension arms heads are, we've got to come in right on the sides, around that tiny little lip. So we'll paint those in first, just to make sure that this colour works. So just a really thin brush. Put that to the sides. Just drag it down a little bit. Hopefully the camera will focus on this. Just go in a very carefully edge that colour on. As it stands right now, we shouldn't need too much thinners in this until we actually start spraying it. And by adding the thinners to the airbrush, what we're actually doing is, if you airbrush the Tamiya paints neat, you get like this furry effect where the paint's atomising before it hits the model piece. And the thinners just wets everything down a little bit, so it's not as gloopy when it's coming out of the brush. There we go, right. So, like I said earlier, we're going to come in with a lighter grey, just to give a mid-tone to these two fluid bottles, and then we'll paint them white properly after that. But that's towards the end of the build itself, the end of the front end build. That made more sense in my head. So, I'm going to whack some of that in the airbrush now. I'm going to thin it down a little bit, just to help it through the brush, like I said. And I'll get those front forks painted and see what it looks like. Can't wait for this bit. Okay, whilst the noisy compressor's doing his thing, I'm just going to do the same thing that we did with the rest of the paint so far. I'm just going to pour in a quantity of thinners first. Now, we shouldn't need a huge amount for this because it's only 2 little pieces. We're not spraying everything like we have been doing so far. Just going to give the custom colour a mix again. So we'll call this Yamaha Metallic Orange. Gorgeous colour. I'm going to pour roughly the same quantity of paint into the cup. I'm going to use that colour on a 124 scale car at some point. Lovely colour. Let's give it a little mix. Block the end of the nozzle, just blow some air through, get the bubbles. He says hello. There we go. My trigger's playing funny things with me. Quick test off to the side. The paint going through. Shift you up. Stick a compressor on and then cross your fingers, boys and lady. There might be a lady watching this somewhere. Oh my word. That's a lovely colour. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not, but you can actually see the titanium silver through an orange hue. Lovely shade. I think it's one of those, if you get a couple of coats on it, it's going to look gorgeous. So I'm just going to leave that for a few seconds and have a quick waffle at you. On the Caliper holders that go on the front forks, there we are, the bulk of that's going in a metallic brown, I think it's called. It's just off copper, another lovely shade. So let's give this another quick coat. Let's go with you first and use up what's on your cup. That one. That's that. I'll do a quick colour change. Shush that. Right, quick colour change. So I'm just going to drop the X28 thinners into the cup. This literally is a quick and nasty change. Oh, in between colours. So the X28 goes in, we get a Grotio brush, just give everything a quick mix around. Don't blow this through. So if you've got any greeblies at the bottom, you'll just gum them up at the bottom end of your needle. Needle quick wipe too, and then grab some kitchen roll. And this is not a full clean, this is only a colour change. Just give everything a wipe. Oops. And then hopefully you can see there that most of the colour's gone. Just have another wipe in there, like so. Pour some more colour in, thinners in. Gonna block the nozzle and very gently blow. And you can see there the colour's changing because I've still got paint down the bottom end. That's what this is getting rid of now. So just pull the needle right back, very gently blow some air in. Just get the little fizz at the bottom. And then same again. Get the kitchen roll, soak it up, just upside down, get all the dregs from the bottom. Block the nozzle again, splash more thinners, and the same test. There's still a tiny little bit of paint down there. So the same again. In the kitchen roll. Soak it up. And this time it comes clear. Comes through clear. There we go. So we can blow that through. Let's do that again. Yeah, happy with that. So blow that through there like that. Now we'll get the metallic brown, which is here. And the same process. Pour a tiny bit of thinners into the cup, so we're not going to need a huge amount for this again. So just a little squirt, about so much. Nothing scientific. You get a feel for how much you actually need going off the piece that you're painting. So, good shake of that. That should be okay because I was actually looking at that earlier. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So roughly the same amount of paint. Like so. Block the nozzle. A tiny little blow just to mix things. In with the brush. Quick stir. Block through. I'm good to go. Off to the side for a quick test. What will happen there is the first spurt that you have, you'll blow the thinners through. And you'll see a splash of thinners, then wet paint, and then the actual paint coming through that's mixed. Because you've got all this to go through first before you actually hit the cup. So it's about that much. So you've got thinners, wet paint, and then the paint itself. Just test the flow again, and then fill in the colour on the hub. It's a lovely colour. Look at that. Beautiful colour. I'm just going to cut to air, so just leave the trigger all the way forward, push down for air. I'm just going to give this a quick dry. It's not drying the paint properly, it's just flashing off the top layer of paint. Which gives you a better idea of what the paint will look like once it's dry. Hopefully the lighting in the camera is working with that. That is absolutely gorgeous colour. It really is. I like that one. That's possibly my new favourite colour. Don't tell Metallic Grey that I said that though. Because Metallic Grey's a bit jealous like that and he'll shout, won't you? Yeah. I'm talking to the paints. Definitely need a 3D camera. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Alright, so just out with a quick colour change, as you've seen. Now you can do that quite a few times, quite happily all day long. I've been using this airbrush for most of the day now, and just disconnect from the air. I'm just not doing it now. The trigger's getting a little bit lazy because right down the bottom end looks because all I've been doing is colour changes. The paint will actually build up right down the business end, so I've just stripped down. And the inside of the crown's not too bad. Normally that's, you can get a little bit of gummy paint in there. There's my chuck, there's my chuck. So, just going to take the nozzle off itself. Be careful with this, because trust me, if it goes flying off and the carpet monster gets hold of it, you'll be on your hands and knees for the next 4 days. Never draw your needle back through the chassis, always push through. And be careful not to bend anything on the way through. So what we don't want to do is drag any paint through and into, there's a little washer just here somewhere. You don't want to drag any paint or solvents through that. There we go. So that's the business end of the needle, so that's the part that you see. Let's get away from that background. As we like, you'll do. So this part of the needle here, where my finger is, that's the part of the needle you see down the throat of the cup. And if you can see there, it's actually quite furry. There's quite a bit of paint on there, and there's quite a bit of paint just here where the nozzle covers up, which tells me that nozzle needs cleaning if it's leaving paint on the end of the needle there. Sorry about the lighting, it's not the greatest in the world. Stay. Stay. Good lad. So that entire front end of the needle needs cleaning, as does this part here. So what I'll do now is an end of day clean, which I'm not going to film right now. I've already filmed it for my normal channel. So what I'll do is I'll splice that in here now, and hopefully that'll help you with cleaning the airbrush. This particular one, as I say, is an YAMAHA Revolution CR, so it's relevant to this airbrush mostly, but it should cover most airbrushes because it's basically the same thing. Particularly with these gravity fed ones, because you put the paint in there, gravity does the work of pulling the paint through. So I'm just going to field strip everything. That's the quick release for the air supply, so we pop that. Make sure you turn your air supply off first. Stay. Make sure your hose is empty too. The air supply is off, it's just not empty. I don't know. So this will now go into my ultrasonic cleaner. They won't, because they're not working parts where paint is, so they can stay out separate. We'll throw in the 2 crown guards, we'll throw in the needle, and we'll throw in the tiny nozzle. Like I say, I'll splice in the video here, and hopefully that'll help you out with your airbrush. So we've still got the gummed up airbrush. I'll take that quick release off, and we'll unscrew the back guard thing. I'm slacking that nuts off. Where's my chuck gun? There's my chuck. Take off the front crown guard, splot, and the back front hinge. Go very carefully. Unscrew that nozzle finely keeper thing. Right then, that is more likely the problem. All that paint gummed up on there. Yes. That won't help. Oh, my lighting's shocking. How's that? It's a bit better, I think. Is it? I don't know. Right, because we've got all that paint and greeblies in there, we're going to push the needle this way, forward, instead of drawing through the back. As you can see, there's loads of paint on there. So very, very carefully and very gently with our kitchen roll, just have a quick sweep towards the front and get rid of the excess. And again, there's all kinds of paint gummed up right at the front end. So when I said there was a blockage at the front end, that'll do it. Which is why we have this thing. It's awesome. So screw the chuck back up and release the breechy thing. So this is how much of an expert I am. I don't even know what the parts are called. So I can pop that off to one side, take the trigger out, that can go to one side, and then we've got the main chassis, which we'll very carefully place in there. Don't drop it in, because you've got tiny things in there that can break. So that's just normal tap water in there now, for the moment, and then we have the Airbrush Cleaner from Media, which is actually made by Iwata, or owned by Iwata or something like that. Iwata Media thing. Good squirt, that's it. No precise measurement, it's just a good squirt. As you can see, it's all gone all soapy and things like that. Now, on this particular model of ultrasonic cleaner, we have the on-off switch there. We also have the clock. Now, I personally find 6 minutes should do it normally. Press the go button, you can hear that. And if you can see there, the front end, the nozzle thing, bouncing away like crazy. And if you have a look there, all that paint coming away from inside the crown. Any second you should be able to see all that floating away. There we go. Find the needle. It's under the bubbles. I don't know if you can make that out. The paint is actually bouncing away from the needle. Brilliant. I love this thing. I could sit here and watch this all day. And I'm gonna have a little try for this kind of thing, and typically it's buggered off and left me. Start calling at me, let's go. No, don't, stop it. Yeah, that'll have to do. So a little tub, just we're not going to lose all the little small parts. And kitchen roll, you'll do. So I'll find some more. Just put some kitchen roll at the bottom just to soak everything up. I'll put that in there, Kick up, that in there. Like I was saying about the needle tip a minute ago. Well, a minute ago for me, it was about half hour ago. If you just run it and drag it across something fleshy, you'll feel a little burr if you've got any splotties going on. That's still a newish needle. I've only had it a couple of weeks, so I'd be disappointed if there's a burr on there already. But they can happen. It's just general wear and tear. And the amount of times it's going in and out of the needle, stop it, in and out of the needle. Not the needle. The airbrush, and through things like this. You can't pick up a nick and a dink here and there. So, oh, that's lovely and shiny again now. I like that. Okay, so that's all the small parts. And then we get the big fella. Get off. Get off. Get the big fella. And then some kitchen roll still. Like that. This is how chaotic I normally am with the build. It's just absolute pandemonium. You've got to say that with a broad northern accent. Pandemonium. Doesn't work otherwise. So with aluminium. What's the other one? Ooh, yes. Surrey from Bury. Oh, sorry from Bury. Love that broad northern accent. Oi, I really do. So we'll give all that a dry and then off to the side. Little shake, like so. Just get rid of any stuff that's in there. See, there, there's another one. Doesn't work unless you know them. It's over there. That's why it's over there. No, it's over there. That's what I said. That's one we used to get as well. When I used to work in corporate retail, we had a delivery driver who was from Wigan, or as he would call it, wigging. And every time he turned up with his big truck, first thing out of his mouth, "Has he got stutty foot mouth?" You do what? "Has they got stutty foot mouth?" Yeah. "Have you got anything to eat?" It was quite odd, that fella was. Okay, so try not to over tighten that thing, because I've actually shaved one of these off on a cheaper airbrush. That was quite fun. Oh, completely ruined. And with these ones, you know, these like upwards of £100. It's quite an expensive mistake at the maker. Yeah, yeah, I know. Okay, so just done the collet at the back. Push the needle home. Very carefully, very gently. There we go. And so we don't bend this part. This is what this is for. That's what that's for. Right. Retract the needle. Pull back. In fact, first, put some air on. And we'll reconnect. Quick release. Thingy. You can pick these up really cheaply off eBay. Some of these. And literally all it does. No. It literally just screws into your existing airline. Pop that on. Oh, I missed it because I had hold of the air pressure as well. Well, there's usually, see that tiny little hole there? That's where the air comes through. And you get a little of goop. So don't look down that when you first connect. Otherwise it will go in your face. I've still got a bit of paint on the end of my crown. Why do I still have paint on the end of my crown? It should have come off by now. It hasn't. I'll tell people this part. Then we get the crown. You can see the shape there. It's like a bell. Stop it. It's all concave, yes, concave and conical. I've still got some fluid knocking about somewhere. That's okay, that'll ease off. There we go, it's gone. Then we put the nose guard on. Like so. Quick blow back. There's nothing in there. Lovely. Right. Just put you there. Turn you off. And that's done. Right. This conical bell here, in this middle section, in this bit, take you off. What happens is that tiny little air hole that I showed you a second ago, in this conical piece here, there's a gap. It's not much, but there's a gap. It forces the air in a tight spiral. And that's the whole point of that shape. It doesn't matter which way around it goes, but it goes into a little spiral, which then, as you retract your needle, it lets a drop of paint through. You press down for air like that, and you pull back a little bit. A little drop of paint comes through. from the cup, hits the air, and then you get the bell shape on the other opposite end, which then does this and fans out in a big tornado going the other way. And that's the science bit of how an airbrush works. Terribly explained, I know. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but I was like, ooh, little tornado. So you get a really big tornado, goes into a quick tornado that comes back out again as you go through that stage. It's fantastic how it works. Ooh, okay, so we've got some titanium gold now, X31, in the airbrush. I'm just going to test off first. That tiny weeny little bolt off the engine that holds the small cog of the chain in place. We're just going to colour that in a titanium gold. Like so. And I'm going to do the same with the brake calipers themselves and the hubs, the main hubs. Oh, you're fighting for focus there, aren't you? There's one. And two. Three. And four. Right then. So it's going to take a couple of days for the metallics to dry now on that front suspension. I'll just have a quick look at these again. It's about a couple of hours drying now. Get off. This custom colour is rather lovely. I do like that. I really do like that. And then we get that metallic brown. Stay. I'd say it's just off copper. It's a gorgeous colour. It really is. So, we'll leave these for a couple of days to dry off and for the metal flakes to stop flaking off, basically. And then once they're ready, we'll gloss varnish all those together and do some decal work on the lower end, I think it is, across his little tubey rim at the bottom. A couple of decals go on there. There's a couple that go somewhere else as well, I'm sure there was. So there we go. Join me again in part 10, where we'll be completing the construction of the front end and getting it all ship-shape and fancy and stuff like that. Now I've actually just edited the main bulk of it, and I'm actually doing the intros and outros after the fact of editing, and there's quite a treat for episode 10. It's actually a longer episode. I've actually managed to get the editing program to do more than 45 minutes or whatever it is that are normally limited to, 35 minutes. So you've actually got an extended episode for episode 10. Cool. So join me for that. In the meantime, bob along, go see my mates at emodels.co.uk and tell them I sent you, and they'll ask you where the donuts are. Until next time, I'll see you in part 10.